Well, I was a young captain too, and number one, I think you need a good group of leaders around you, some veterans that can help take some of the pressure off. You know, we'll use McDavid as an example. He's obviously their best player. And who are they going to anoint at some point in the next year or two? You might as well give it to him now and make sure you got a Lucic around and some of these guys that have been around a while to help, A, with the experience of the game and knowing the league, knowing what to do in different situations, but also to support them and be a buffer in the locker room. It can't always be the same guy standing up screaming and yelling or talking and following the coach saying, preaching what to do. You have to have a number of layers and a number of players in there stand up and be accountable. And you know, I think as we've seen over the years, they've gotten younger and younger and younger captains throughout the league. There's always somebody breaking the next barrier of how young can we go. But I think he's the obvious choice there. Sometimes it's hard, and like I think I had 5 years left in my contract, and they looked at me and like, yeah, we'll give it to him. I mean, to be honest with you, there was a couple of guys that probably should have had it before me, but they were out, their contracts were up, and they weren't sure if they were going to sign him, so they needed one. They figured I was going to grow into a captain, and they gave it to me. So I think sometimes it happens that way, but or you get it earlier than you thought. But I had a great group of veterans around me there as well. So you know, I think you can do it. You just got to help teach different moments, and also allow that player to grow into it as well.
It's one characteristic I would look for if I were looking for a captain, is someone that can be a liaison with the coach and act as a buffer at the right time. And you know, I laugh because I always think the 3 most important minutes of a coach's life are the 3 minutes after he walks out of the locker room. Who takes charge of that room? Who says something next? If it's positive, it's negative. If something negative is said, who stands up to that? I think the relationship that the captain has with the coach is really, really important.
You heard that story, but I think it was Forbes Kennedy that said it when we had the parade and they were all in the convertible cars and everybody, and nobody even knew who he was. And that's what Forbes Kennedy said, I think these people think it's a car show. But, you know, I was in Toronto when they announced the 6 teams going into the NHL, and the Toronto papers, for some reason, picked on Philadelphia more than anybody else. I mean, Oakland didn't have any history of having any hockey there. I mean, you know, St. Louis had a minor league team, and there was a little bit of hockey in L.A., but L.A. was no real hockey bed. But for some reason, they didn't feel very good about the Flyers and couldn't understand why the NHL would bring in Philadelphia into the NHL. And you find out that of all those 6 teams, there's no franchise more successful. I think when I was here 2 weeks ago, I tell all my friends, but I'm down to Florida and I was up in Toronto, and I telling people that where would you go to an alumni game? Was over 19,000 people at alumni game. We can't get 7,000 people in the rink in Florida for a regular NHL game. You get 19,000. It just shows you just how successful it has from day one. It's amazing, really incredible, amazing.